Hi, welcome to Mama Mentality, where I talk about all things marriage, motherhood, and mental health. Today's video is for all my military spouses who are currently preparing their PCS move to Japan. Since this experience is already very overwhelming and stressful, I thought I'd share my personal experience and some tips that helped me get through the very long trip to Japan. So we flew from San Diego to Seattle, and that was a very quick and easy trip. The one thing that I do recommend is really try not to overpack. So altogether we had 6 suitcases and 3 carry-on bags. I really wish that I would have packed very lightly when it came to clothing, because that does take up a lot of room. And since we're quarantined the moment we land on the island, we're staying inside for 2 weeks, which means we don't need a lot of nice clothes and stuff like that. Another thing is for the hotel shuttle at the Seattle airport. It was a little bit challenging for us to figure out where to go. Luckily there was a worker nearby that was able to give us directions on where to go to get to the hotel shuttle. But really what you have to do as soon as you get your luggage, just go up the elevator to the 4th floor, and then you go over the bridge, and then you go down to the 3rd floor, which is where the hotel shuttles will be. And we stayed at the Radisson Hotel, so we had to call to see when the shuttle was coming. And luckily it took about 15 minutes because it's at the 30-minute mark of every hour. I'm really glad that we chose to get a room just to get, we got about 4 hours of sleep, but I'm really glad we did that because we were able to preserve a little bit of energy, and then with the little one, she was able to get some rest as well. So that was our flight to Seattle. Now I wanted to talk about the long stretch to mainland Japan, which is at Yokota. So check-in starts at 2:30 and ends at 5:30. I had read a lot online how people were showing up early, like right at 2 or 2:30, just to get in line. And I did see how a lot of the times the lines were very long around that time because everybody wants to show up early, everybody wants to make sure that they're checked in. But for us, we actually woke up at around 2:30, and then since the shuttle at the Radisson comes at the 30th mark of every hour, we ended up leaving around 3:30. So we got to the airport around 4 a.m. and I was actually very surprised to see that there wasn't a very long line. I honestly think that we skipped the rush of the early birds. It actually made our lives a little bit easier, not really having to worry about staying in line for so long. But the first thing that happens whenever you go to check in, you have to fill out a health questionnaire because they do a quick little screening when you get there just to check your temperature, see if it's below 100. We also had to fill out tags for each of our checked suitcases. You just put your name and email on there. So making sure that you have a pen is really important because a lot of the times they run out of pens and you have to wait for one. You have to wait for somebody to be done. So just the convenience of having your own pen is really helpful so you can get that out of the way. So once you're done filling out that paper and filling out the tags for your suitcases, they'll do the quick screening and then you get in line so they can check your luggage to see if it meets the weight requirement. And during this time you have to have your passports, your IDs, a copy of your web orders. My husband wasn't aware that he needed a copy of his web orders, so he had to go through the process of typing into the computer and getting it printed out there. So be sure that you have a copy of the web orders readily available whenever you're gonna check in. So once they're done checking your luggage to see if it meets the weight requirement, which is 70 pounds. Unless it's a military duffel bag, then the weight limit is actually 100 pounds. So once you're done checking in your luggage, that's whenever you can go and wait at your gate for your flight. Something that's a little bit different compared to commercial flights is you can't check in your car seat where you check in your luggage. You have to wait until you get to the gate at the terminal to check in your car seat. So when you're done checking in your luggage, that's when you go through TSA, and they don't have pre-check there, so you have to do all of the TSA requirements. So once you get past TSA, that's whenever you get on a train to get to your gate. Before we got on the train, we actually stopped to get Starbucks, which I'm really glad we did because they don't have Starbucks or really a lot of options in that area where your gate is. So making sure that you get, you know, whether it's coffee, food, whatever, I would highly suggest doing that before you get on the train. So waiting for the flight was, it wasn't too bad. We kind of just hung out. We had to wait about 3 hours because check-in was so early and our flight didn't leave until 8 a.m. So the flight actually wasn't that bad. They offer 2 meals for the entire flight. The first one is about an hour into the flight, and then the last meal is about an hour and a half before landing. The meals weren't too bad. They offered us either pasta or chicken, and then it has like veggies, cheese, and then a dessert, and then of course they offer drinks. I do suggest bringing as much snacks as you possibly can, especially if you have little ones, because they only offer those 2 meals. That's pretty much the only food you get for a 10.5-hour flight. Another tip that I have, especially if you have little ones, is really bringing activities that you know that they're going to be interested in, and making sure that you save the best toy for last, just because towards the end of the flight it is at that point pretty exhausting, and our babies are going to be tired and they are going to be uncomfortable. So really just bringing that one toy, or even if it's a new toy that they'll really be interested in, is something that's going to be a lifesaver. So my daughter is almost 2 years old, and we bought her a tablet specifically for this trip, and she was not interested in it. I was actually really bummed out because I thought that this was going to be the holy grail to this flight, and she just did not care for it. I also got her a mess-free coloring book. That kept her distracted for maybe like 5 minutes. My husband's laughing in the background because he knows how big of a struggle it was. I also got her a sticker book that didn't work. I got her like this sensory doll that has like different little like zippers and buckles and things like that to keep her occupied. That worked for a little bit, but not very long. For the most part, she was either sleeping or just like distracted by like other people in the plane. There are a lot of children on these military flights, which is also very helpful because we're all in a similar situation where we can relate to each other if there's a crying baby next to us or the kids have somebody to talk to and play with. I should have thought more thoroughly as far as what activities I brought for my daughter that could have kept her occupied. So making sure that you kind of prioritize that, because there are moments where you do feel helpless and like you don't know what to do anymore. And I honestly think what helped was the snacks. I did pack a lot of snacks, so if she wasn't sleeping or just relaxing, she was eating snacks. Another helpful thing that I brought for my little one was getting an inflatable footrest from Amazon. I'll go ahead and link below which one that I bought. But this inflatable footrest, I asked the flight attendant if I could use the air above us to fill it up, because that's what I read online, that's what most people do in commercial flights. But she said no, so I ended up having to blow it up myself. I really wish I would have packed like a mini air pump, but I didn't. So it wasn't too bad blowing it up myself, but an air pump really would have came in handy. What I did with this footrest is I put it in between the space of the seat in front of her and the seat that she was in, and I just laid out a little blanket, and it was like a bed that she could just relax on. And I honestly think that helped her feel a little bit more comfortable, and because she was able to stretch out her legs and feel like she had a lot more space. As far as activities for yourself, having either books or movies, TV shows downloaded on your phone are a must. They do have screens where you can watch movies, TV shows, games. I must say that the variety was not a lot, but it is something that can keep you occupied for 10 hours. They do offer headphones as well, but having your own is always nice. I also would suggest bringing an eye mask if you don't have little ones, because with little ones you have to keep your eye on them. But having an eye mask and a neck pillow really are important. And then they have charger ports on the plane, so making sure that you bring your cords to charge your phones is really helpful. So 10 hours is a long time to be in a plane, but if you're able to find ways to keep yourself occupied, just really be patient is really what's going to help you get through this flight. So when we land in Yokota, it's on an Air Force base, so it's not like your typical airport. You have to walk through the flight line. So that's whenever we get the chance to stretch out for a little bit. It's about a 2-hour layover. So this is the chance where if you have dogs, you can take them out and walk them around for a little bit. And there's not really a lot to do in the building besides stretch out. They have 3 vending machines, water to drink, and bathrooms. The bathrooms don't have changing stations. Luckily, my daughter just had a wet diaper, so I was able to just quickly clean her up. But making sure that you do have a changing pad if you do have to lay your baby down. And then once that layover is done with, that's whenever we get back on the plane and fly to Iwakuni to drop off the people who are staying there. It's about a 45-minute flight, which was really nice. I'm so glad that it wasn't more than that. We don't get off the flight on this stop. We just have to kind of wait for... The wait actually was a little bit long, and at that point, you know, you're feeling very tired and you're just ready to be done with this flight. So I really tried to just sleep. And the flight to Okinawa, it is actually about an hour. This is like the final stretch of the flight. So once you land, make sure that you have your IDs and passports readily available along with your original orders. It's easier to get these things out before you get off the plane, just so you can have it prepared. And whenever you show them your documents, it's a very quick process. It's very fast and easy. So you also have to fill out this document for COVID testing, which is basically so they have your information written down when it comes to testing, which will more than likely happen during your 10th day in ROM. So once you're doing all of that, that's whenever you wait for your luggage. Once you're done getting your luggage, that's whenever you'll get transferred in a bus to where you will be spending the next 14 days in ROM. We are currently staying at the WESTPAC Inn. So far, our experience has been really great. The people here are very nice, very kind and helpful. I like the setup here. We have a living room area, a little kitchen area where they have basic kitchen essentials like a toaster, coffee maker. We brought our own coffee maker because we are very specific about our coffee. They have kitchen utensils like forks, knives, spoons. And then we have our bedroom where there's extra blankets, extra pillows. The AC unit here is centralized throughout the entire building, so we don't have access to changing the temperature or turning it off. So making sure that you have warm clothing inside. I'm the type of person who gets very cold easily, so they also offer to give you more blankets if you want them. And then as far as food goes, luckily our sponsor provided us with groceries, and he actually asked us for a list ahead of time, so by the time we got here we had the groceries ready for us. Our sponsor also left us a gift basket with toys for our daughter and just little activities like playing cards, Jenga, things like that to keep us busy. You have to schedule times that you want to go outside, and it's only for about 45 minutes. And this is something that you have to request because only 1 to 2 families can do it at a time. For food, they give you a list of restaurants that you can call and order from, and then they also give you this little piece of paper that has what you want for breakfast, and it's important that you place that outside of your door before 2 p.m. every day, so they're aware that you'll be ordering breakfast. So I'll be sure to upload another video on our experience in ROM and COVID testing and all of that fun stuff. So if you're new here, please like, comment, subscribe, click the little bell notification so you can be notified when I post a new video. My name is Rochelle. This is Mama Mentality. I try to post videos on every Sunday, and like always, I am sending love and light your way. Bye!